my way to the gym. You know the routine. But let's chop it up for a bit, right? So I'm not gonna lie to you. Prior to coming across the red pill and the black manosphere, I never even heard the term gynocracy. Never heard of it. As a matter of fact, the first couple times I heard it, I said, what do they keep talking about? So I actually had to Google the definition because I had never heard that word a day in my life. And at that point, I was probably like 32. In 32 years, never heard that word, not one time. Now, for those of you who don't know, gynocracy is basically a system that is ran and controlled by women, right? Now, why do I say that yes, men are powerless, but no, it's not due to gynocracy, right? Because if you listen to certain people speak, they'll tell you how black boys can't read and this is going on with the boys and the men don't have this and the men don't have rights and all this stuff, right? And they'll tell you that it's because of the gynocracy. Basically, the gynocracy is like the boogeyman. This all-encompassing, all-powerful, matriarchal, dominating force that men are under the boot of. But I'm here to tell you that's not true. First of all, let me give you this. Many people might not agree with me, but it is what it is. Let me just tell you this. The only way that a gynocracy could even come into existence is if there's an absence of strong men and an overabundance of weak men. That's the only way a gynocracy can come about in the first place, right? Now, the reason I say that, yes, a lot of men are weak, a lot of men are powerless, but it's not due to a gynocracy, is because I want you to think about this for a quick second, right? When you hear men talking about the gynocracy and the matriarchy and what's wrong with the women and all this kind of stuff, I want you to really think about this. Of those men, how many of them, of all the ones who have went through their background, their childhood, their personal history, of all the men who talk of a gynocracy, how many of them were raised by strong, masculine men? How many of them had strong fathers, strong grandfathers, uncles? How many? And mind you, I'm not talking about he had a whole lot of money or he had a whole lot of women, and I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about just a strong, positive male father, grandfather, uncle. How many? I'm just talking about a strong man. He went to work every day. He took care of himself. He took care of his children. Maybe he had a woman, maybe he didn't. Maybe he had a woman and she left one day or they broke up. He kept right on trucking. He did his thing, and then one day he passed away. How many men that talk about a gynocracy have ever said anything about, oh yeah, my father, my grandfather, my uncle, these were strong, masculine men? That's my point. You have to come from a background where the men who are supposed to pour into you didn't pour into you in order for you to even believe in something like a gynocracy. I don't know any men who are raised up around strong men that believe in the gynocracy. I'm being honest with you. I have yet to come across a man that said, yeah, man, I was raised by my father. He was a good man. He worked. He took care of the family. He did his own thing. He ain't let nobody walk over him. He was strong. So was my grandfather. I had good uncles. I had good coaches when I played sports. I don't know any guys who talk about having that background, that talk about a gynocracy. If we're going to keep it all the way real, when you hear the word gynocracy, most of the time it's coming from men who weren't raised by their father, don't have a good relationship with their father. Let's just keep it all the way real. Like, stop me when I lie. But that's what it is. Like, we got to be honest about this thing. Like, that's why I say it's not a gynocracy's fault. It's really men's fault. Because it's your father that's supposed to, hey, show you the ropes, show you how to be a man, how to change a tire, how to cut the grass, how to tie a tie, how to talk to girls, how to stand up for yourself, how to pick yourself up and dust yourself off if you lose a fight, keep you in line, correct you, pump you up. Like, I remember a time when men used to be, a man's last name used to mean something to him, Like, I'm a Johnson, I'm a Smith, I'm a this, I'm a that. A lot of men don't have that. Why? Because the man that brought them into the world, that gave them the last name, they don't really have no real connection to him. Or they got a very bad history with him. And so a lot of men are powerless. They don't even have any connection to their own last name, to their own bloodline. That's not due to a gynocracy. That's due to the fact that the man that brought you into this world didn't do what he was supposed to do. A lot of us never experience you go into the barbershop with your father and you sitting around listening to all the grown men talk. Or one day your father take you to run errands with him and you just sit in the passenger seat and you see him chopping it up with his homies and hey, man, a lot of us never went through that. Seriously, a lot of us are weak and powerful, not because of a gynocracy, but because the man that brought us into this world, he dropped the ball. It's really that, like, it's that simple. Because I go to the barbershop, every 2 weeks or so. It is always disheartening to me when I'm in the barbershop and I see all these unmarried women bringing their son to the barbershop. And she got to hold his hand and do all this because he's squirming around and crying and screaming because he's scared of a haircut, even though this is not his first haircut. And it's like, man, his dad's supposed to be bringing him here for this. It's like, man, it's real sad, man. But that's the issue. That's the problem. The problem is the man didn't do his job. And so a lot of guys, they're weak because they never were taught how to be strong. And you do something. That's it. A good job. That's just 2 words from that. Good job. Mean to take you to a whole nother level. And so we gotta. It's not the woman's fault. I'm sorry. It's a man somewhere that brought you into this world and he didn't pour into you. He didn't give you a visual example of manhood, and he didn't teach you the lessons of manhood. And that's why you don't have it. And so a lot of men are weak and soft and timid because they were raised by mostly women. Because the man that brought him into the world, he didn't do his job. That's all it is to it. It's not women's fault you weak, because it's not women's job to make you strong. It's your father's job to make you strong. And he didn't do that. So it ain't a gynocracy, it's just the negligence of men. I hate to be the one to tell you, but that's what it is. And we got to start to be honest about that. And truth be told, this is a tangent, but this is, a good point. Truth be told, a lot of brothers are so against, mentoring and all this other kind of stuff, not because of the woman, but because they're bitter. It's like, why should I mentor? Why should I help out? Why should I pour into a young boy when ain't nobody do that for me? That's really what it is. But no, your situation is not due to a gynocracy. Men's weakness is not due to women. Men's weakness is due to the father not making the boy strong. That's all there is to it.